the issue of policing in peacekeeping is usually a very interesting one. One out of my own experiences in missions that I have attended, particularly in the region. So my experiences is with Ramsey in the Solomon Islands, so, at the level at which I had led the contingent there. So Ramsey was a police-led mission, and the military component was there only to support the peace and keep the police safe. So, and in that work they did military, they did patrols also, and they escorted the police wherever they went. To a certain extent, that was also something that we did with Interfet in East Timor, and later to transition to UNTAET, and later also I was there during the time of UNMISET. So slowly when power had to transition from what was the caretaker UN administration and then for the UN administration including the police. And I share this because sometimes it can be a foreign concept to those of us who actually wear the other uniform, who are also in peacekeeping, to always try and understand who is in the lead role. Obviously it's police work in the UN and also military peacekeeping is a very, very politically motivated and politically oriented work. The outcome, mostly in our work, is political. So there's always a fine line between, in the work that you do as a police officer, in how to handle the political sensitivities and sophistication of the work that you do, understanding also, in particular, that you come from a foreign nation, to trying to administer the land of a country where you do not belong. So maybe this is something you could also keep, and I'm sure, based on your own experiences. Now, I'm telling you this from the perspective of how, from a military person who tries to deconflict elements of peacekeeping from within the UN organizations. And then there are civilians that we deal with as well, and of course, trying to maintain some essence of governance within, of the nation where we actually go to maintain the peace. So this was true really in the case of the Solomon Islands and East Timor during my own experiences there. So I'm sure much of that is also going to come to the fore, because it was really quite a new experience for me to tell the soldiers that they're only there to guard the police. It's a bit of a new thing, because they're so used to be in the front in other areas of operations throughout the world. So in these complexities, they actually do build up. And then, by the same instance, by the same token also, we're always mindful, as commanders of police and military people on the ground doing UN peacekeeping, really is generally the attitude of our own people too. That can become also a problem. It's trying to keep our own people in check. And this has always been an area of weakness, because almost in every UN mission I know, there is always a problem created by those of us who have been sent there to uphold the peace. So I wanted to leave those comments with you, one out of my own practical experience. I know, and I'm glad that this training is being done to train the trainers who are going to go back and train your own people. Fiji presently has a very small police component in UN mission. Hopefully we can make that more if the world needs. But I hope that from your shared experiences you'll be able to derive certain solutions, being mindful that your work is not only to do in trying to maintain law and order and the rule of law, but it's based primarily also in a space where climate change is a big issue and affects the way that people actually live throughout the world. So we're currently, much of what's happening in a part of the world is being shaped from what is happening up in the north, and we're all talking about this. So the war in the Ukraine and what's happening across the Taiwan Straits is not making life any easier for anybody. That's why I'm saying that the political, your police officers, wherever you come from, need to be politically smart in many of these things, because they will be the overriding and the overarching consideration in many of the works that you do, particularly in trying to maintain peace and looking after the people that you're there to serve. So I thought I'd make those brief comments, born out of my own experiences, something that maybe you could share as you go through these next few days. And I wish you well to please, as I said earlier, don't only work, also find time to play when you win. Thank you. Bye.